All right, good afternoon. Heidi Foy here with Bullfrog Creatives. We are back for another episode of Outside the Arena. Today we're going to chat with our Great Plains student director, Jade Boote. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Hey, so my live viewing number is still at 0, but I know you guys are coming, and I know that you will rewatch even if you miss it. So let's do just a little bit of housekeeping before we go into this week's episode of Outside the Arena. Last year, we did a thing. We partnered up with Jim Boy Hash, who is a coach at Garden City Community College, and we did a little morning show called the NFR Hangover. So if you guys have been watching the Facebook page, you know that it is coming back. We are doing the NFR Hangover again this year. We're substantially more on top of things this year than we were last year. So we're actually going to start Thursday morning this week. We're going to do a little pregame prediction BS session Thursday morning to kind of talk about life back in Vegas and NFR back in Vegas. I have a huge schedule written out on the largest dry erase board in the world over here. So I keep looking over there, even though y'all can't see it. So something new this year, we have another, co-host, guest host. Tony Branquino is going to be joining us, who, for y'all that have been involved or been around college rodeo for a little while, you might recognize that name. If you've been around pro rodeo at all, you definitely recognize the last name. That is I would say, because Luke has been on our broadcast for Outside the Arena and for the College Rodeo 101. So I really can't pick sides, but maybe one of the better of the brothers. But then, Luke is supposed to be maybe making an appearance also on NFR Hangover this year. So like I said, I'm not picking sides. I'm just saying he's going to be one of our co-hosts. So if you guys missed it last year, do not miss it this year. If you did miss it, go back in the videos and check some of them out, because they are pretty funny. Very funny, actually. So, okay, enough about that. That starts on Thursday morning, this Thursday at 9 a.m. I did push it back an hour because where poor Tony lives is an hour earlier, and I didn't think he needed to get up that early just to be on a fancy little broadcast on Facebook. So we are pushing it back to 8 o'clock. But it will start on Thursday, and we will go every morning, the only NFR morning show ever, for obvious reasons, because nobody stays up, or everybody stays up late and nobody wants to get up early. So enough about that. We'll have some promos and some more things coming out. So make sure you tell all your friends. For those of us that are at home and we don't get to go to Vegas, we're not bitter at all. We're just going to make our own entertainment and call it the NFR Hangover. So, okay, enough of my rattling. This week, again, I have Miss Jade Boote. Let me get her added to our stream here. Boom. Look it. And I can hear you.
Perfect.
I tried to be real fancy and use this fancy mic, but then it plugs into my microphone or my headphone jack, and I couldn't hear anything. So that's what I get for trying to step up my technology game. It happens. So Jade, as I mentioned, is the student director for the Great Plains region. Jade, tell us where you go to school.
I currently go to Dickinson State University in Dickinson, North Dakota.
All right. Do y'all have snow?
No, luckily we do not. And it's gorgeous out today.
So we don't have snow either, which I am also thankful for, but it also makes me real nervous about the cost of hay next year.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Because it was kind of ridiculous this year. So yeah. I'm not one to pray for snow.
We need some moisture.
But we do need some moisture, yes.
Yeah.
Only the people that watch this broadcast will not get super mad at you for saying stuff like that. Exactly. Everyone else is like, I'm sick of the rain. I'm sick of the snow. I mean, let's be honest. I do that because I'm a fair weather cowboy.
Oh, me too.
That's what
happens. This year's an exception. We need some moisture.
For sure. Sorry. See, it's that time of year. So I have like my hot tea and all the warm things because it's like 5 degrees in my office right now.
Yeah.
So Jade, talk to me about, let's talk a little bit about your region. Tell me a little bit about how the rodeos went this fall. what you guys expect to be happening next spring. And I know that everybody is so sick of talking about this, but please do talk to us about how COVID impacted your region last year. Not the one before. We don't even want to talk about that, but the region, the rodeos last year.
Okay. So our region is really large. It consists of North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska. So we travel quite a bit, especially Dickinson. We're kind of in the corner, so we get to travel long distances. The spring rodeos, we had 6 of them. We went to River Falls, North Platte, Nebraska, River Falls, Wisconsin, North Platte, Nebraska, Fort Dodge, Iowa, and then we were home here in Dickinson for a doubleheader. And then in the spring, we will go to Ames the first weekend in April, and then we'll have 4. So we'll do Ames, Brookings, Spearfish, and then finish it off in Lincoln. So as far as COVID, yes, it was a little different, but luckily for us, we did get to have 10 full rodeos.
Oh, good.
Some of our North Platte had a doubleheader, which they've had for a couple years. Dickens, we had a doubleheader. River Falls did not have a rodeo. Fort Dodge had a doubleheader. So we had some schools step up and take on some doubleheaders just so we could get our rodeo count in.
Mm-hmm.
As far as how did those rodeos look? Did we have spectators? It kind of depended on where we were at. In North Platte, we could have spectators. We had to wear, I think we did have to wear masks in North Platte. Or maybe just some schools, depending on their school. I know Fort Dodge, any rodeo, they had to wear masks. And then when we went to Fort Dodge doubleheader, no spectators at all, which was way different, but we were just thankful to have a rodeo, honestly.
Yeah, at that point.
So we had to be masked up the whole time. Dickinson, we came home and we didn't have to wear masks if our schools didn't make us. And we were able to have spectators. Brookings did not have a rodeo last year. And then I think BH had a doubleheader. So we're very thankful for schools to step up and put on doubleheader rodeo so that we could get that, because I know a lot of regions didn't get their 10 rodeos, or one region had back-to-back weekends, 3 rodeos in a weekend. So we're fortunate for what we did have.
Well, and I think I'm pretty sure that most of the people that watch these broadcasts are fairly savvy on what it means to have a doubleheader. But from the production side, what it means to have a doubleheader is a little bit different than just competition wise. So most of these colleges have to raise their own money. They have to pay for the stock. Sometimes they pay to rent the fairgrounds, like all of these things. So when you're adding a completely separate rodeo on top of the one that you've planned for, so you already kind of have those expenses in mind, but when you're adding ×2 to everything, it does change. Like not every college is able to do that. And so I think how you say, like, there are some colleges that stepped up to do those doubleheaders, that's a really, really good way to put it. And I think it's just oftentimes overlooked. If you've not been on that side of it, if you haven't been on the production side of it, then it really doesn't mean anything. You just know that you got 10 rodeos to go to. Here we go. And so like I kudos those colleges that didn't plan on doing 2 rodeos, but ended up doing those doubleheaders. That's a big.
And I do have to touch on Fort Dodge. They weren't even allowed to go out and get sponsorships. So they took on a huge role, and they had a doubleheader rodeo, and they had it. So no spectators, so they couldn't charge admission. Didn't have sponsors.
Explain that.
It was just something that their school didn't allow.
Maybe because they wouldn't be able to provide like anything in return for the sponsorship.
So they weren't able to get sponsors. So for them to have put on a rodeo and a doubleheader nonetheless was huge. And I know even with COVID, it was hard to get sponsorships willing to sponsor because maybe the funds weren't there. So we were so thankful for any sponsors that did step up and help us put on those rodeos.
Well, and I think it speaks volumes to each community. Like that community really embraces all the sports. I mean, every community kind of has their jam and their givers, but you know, those businesses that are still able to give and still be able to help and sponsor, whether it's youth baseball or, you know, whatever it is, college rodeo, kudos to all of them. I mean, those businesses, like you said, they had a tough year and they're still giving back to the community.
Yes, for sure.
Which, I mean, I will also say that I I would venture to guess that there aren't a lot of college students that are thinking about that right now.
Probably not.
Just because it's not everybody is on this production side of it and like putting the rodeos on and being involved on this side. And so I think I think it speaks volumes to your character, quite frankly.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome.
I've helped my coach quite a bit on the getting sponsors and helping as much as I can. So I have realized in the past years I've been here what it really does take. Just the little things of calling the ambulance and making sure they're going to be there on time.
Yeah.
And just little things like that you don't think about. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
To make sure everybody is there at the right time and on the right day. And yeah, it's a lot. It really is.
I remember like in high school and even in college, and especially now, like youth, I would also say with Facebook providing such a large platform for people to complain about things. And the other, I mean, I will say the other also, there's positive stuff, but you hear so much more of the complaints, and it's usually the people that have never been on the production end of it that are doing the most complaining. And I think that it really should be. I mean, we used to joke around about like, oh, these team ropers, if they were putting this team roping on, they wouldn't be complaining about this. Or barrel racers. I feel like barrel racers kind of get a bad rap all the time. But I mean, it just goes, it speaks volume. If you have no experience putting something together and organizing something, I don't know. I don't think you have anything to complain about.
Yeah, I know we put on some jackpots here at the college too. And even just a simple one-day jackpot seems like be pretty simple. And we're fortunate that who brings our stock, they do the timing, the flagging. They're really great about that. But then you need people to push cattle and do the barrier and the neck rope and run the chute and all the other things. It takes a lot. It really does take a lot to organize and have everything run smoothly.
Yeah. Well, so along those same lines, I think that college rodeo in particular is different from, well, every other college sport in that as a student athlete, you are involved in the decision-making process, and not only the decision-making process, but the production end of it and putting those butts in the seats. And that impacts you directly. I mean, it's not just about making money for the college. It's about keeping the sport alive and keeping those college rodeos going. I think after 2020, I know that at a national level, memberships were low because if students didn't know that there was going to be a rodeo program or a rodeo at all, I think they were just nervous about what that was going to look like in the spring. And so I think the NIRA at a national level really, I don't know. I mean, it made me nervous to kind of sit back and watch and see how we were going to rebound from that. And so when you have student athletes that are involved in those hard conversations, then you have a lot better understanding of real world experiences and how like, unfortunately, it's not just about going out and having fun. Like there are bottom line things that we need to take care of, and y'all get a great experience to be involved with those decisions.
We sure do. And I do have to say that this fall, our membership was up like greatly than it has been in the past few years. And so that's really exciting to see. So it's going to be interesting next week when we head to Vegas for our winter board meeting and see if other regions have seen a growth in membership or if we're maybe one of the only ones. But we did see a growth in membership this year. At the first rodeo, I think we had 140 barrel racers. And like the year before, we only had like 80 or 90. So
I feel like that's a little bit more on par for pre-COVID. You know, there always were a lot of barrel racers. Have you noticed an uptick in breakaway ropers at all?
Yeah. Our breakaway roping and barrel racing numbers are our highest numbers for sure.
I mean, I think barrel racing it's a little bit different conversation than breakaway roping, but I feel like breakaway roping could bring more barrel racers to the playing field also. You know, you have those women that thought they were done, and so they just don't go to, you know, they might be good ropers, but they don't want to rope in college for whatever reason. But now that there's something after college or during college, in our case, you can rodeo professionally and be a college athlete at the same time. So I don't know. I've always I think it's interesting that I feel like the numbers here at our local region, the Central Rocky Mountain region, those breakaway numbers have gone up. And I think across the board, it sounds like from these conversations that all of them have gone up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting to see. I guess, especially being a breakaway roper myself, it's super exciting to see those numbers going up.
Yeah, I feel like I say just, but I mean it's been a couple decades ish. So I feel like I missed it, but it's also an opportunity that I could step back into
Yeah, for sure.
pretty easily because there are so many more opportunities now.
There's so many opportunities.
It is very exciting. I am like just waiting. I was really hoping that Vegas would do it for me this year to drop breakaway roping in the performances,
I know.
but not yet. It's coming. It's coming. I know that it's going to be coming. It's just going to take.
Yep.
It's just going to take a little bit.
Hey,
So
it's in Vegas and they got something, so it's a step in my direction. So
yes, for sure, for sure. So let's talk quickly about Vegas. Is this your first year as a student director? Like where are
nope,
you
this is
at?
my second year.
Okay.
Yep. And last year our meeting was via Zoom, so it was way different. So this year it'll be a whole new experience for me.
Yeah, great. So have you been to the NFR before?
Yes, I've been there multiple times, and then
Okay.
I was in Texas last year,
Mhm.
but I just zoomed in for the meeting. But
Yeah, that's funny. I'm here and you're not.
yeah.
So I guess talk to me about kind of uh, general topics of conversation for the winter board meeting. Not in a year like this, not in a year where there's a new commissioner, there's some things coming that you maybe don't know about, but just a general conversation.
We're always going to talk about the finances and how everything's looking, and that really a lot of it depends on membership and what our sponsors are bringing in. Membership numbers is going to be a huge one. Just how we can get more members, because I think over last several years it's gone down. So we need to find ways on how we can get those numbers up. If I'm being honest, I haven't really looked at the board packet yet because it just got mailed to me. But just general housekeeping things, and then there's some executive committee meetings. I am not on any of those, but those are all. And then obviously there's the commissioner stuff this year. So yeah, it's a very big transition, and it's fun to be on a board with so many things going on, especially with Jim Dewey stepping up now and being the new commissioner. So it's fun seeing all these changes and kind of being a part of all of it.
So we talk about one of the national sponsors is actually a partner of this platform, and that's Cinch Shirts and Jeans. Yeah. So I have to look at the website. So forgive me if I'm not looking where I'm supposed to be. But of course, Cinch Jeans and Shirts, Cactus Gear, Cactus Ropes, Cactus Saddlery, YO City, which is a Visit Casper Area Convention Visitors Bureau here in Casper, Helo-Matic, Maynard Buckles, Powder River Livestock, Ram Rodeo, and Resist All Hats are our national sponsors. And then, of course, there's a whole slew of more sponsors that come on board for the production of the college national finals here. So do you guys have an opportunity to like get face to face with some of these sponsors at this board meeting?
That I am not sure of, honestly, because I haven't been to Vegas when the meeting is, so I'm not 100% sure. That'd be very cool.
I would guess that you do, just because they're probably there for the NFR, but
yeah,
I feel like it's a good opportunity for you to kind of put a face to a name, and then also to show appreciation for what they do for the sport of rodeo. I mean,
for sure.
Obviously, as you know now, those national sponsors are really what kind of keep the gears turning at a national level, and then of course all the local sponsors make it happen for the local colleges too.
Yep. There's a lot of sponsors that go into putting on a regional rodeo to the finals to our region sponsorships. There's so many sponsors to thank.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about, I mean, you did mention Jim Dewey, so I feel like you opened the door and I kind of prompted you to do that. Let's talk a little bit about what I guess, do you have any expectations or things that you hope to see Jim Dewey bring to the table that maybe we haven't seen in the past?
In the hiring process, when we did down in Casper, there was so many things that were, kind of discussed, but I think some of the things that I had kind of personally, I would like to see done, and I talked to some other people too, that maybe getting more TV or productions going on amongst regional rodeos. We all see that the Cowboy Channel is going everywhere, and it would be really fun to see the Cowboy Channel go and do one rodeo a season for each region. I think that would be so cool. And I know a lot of schools, I guess up here in our region, they're trying to live stream all of our rodeos, which it's usually not the best because I know that from DSU's experience that it's just an iPad. Yes, it's better than nothing, but it would be super cool to have Cowboy Channel be maybe more involved with college rodeo. I think that another thing is bringing in some new sponsors. The sponsors we have are amazing. Don't get me wrong, but there's always room to bring in new ones, and I think that Jim Dewey has a lot of connections with because he puts on Prescott Rodeo, is it? And I think that with the connections he has with them and what he could bring to college rodeo, like the opportunities are endless. So I think that if we could get some more sponsors, that would be wonderful.
Well, and I think that's always scary. I mean, my freshman year in college, I believe it was the first year that it was here in Casper, and that was when Copenhagen School was still around. And it's always a little bit scary when you start to see those changes come, when new sponsors come or old sponsors leave, like the fit just kind of changes a little bit. And I think that there's so many, I would agree with you 100%. I think there's just a lot more opportunities, especially with the live streaming with Cowboy Channel. I'm with you. I would love to see the Cowboy Channel pick up some college rodeos. I feel like it's a clear and easy fit. I do know that we have an amazing partnership with ESPNU and David Glott. And, so bringing those new ones on is a fine line between burning bridges for old ones. And so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out. But I do agree. I would like to see a little bit more coverage for college rodeo. I think programs like this and just having conversations about college rodeo and getting it out there are obviously it's helpful no matter what. I mean, even if it's just me talking to coaches or me talking to alumni, it still is talking about the kind of I guess, a grassroots campaign of what college rodeo is all about and how it has impacted these student athletes' lives. So I do agree. And I will be kind of waiting with bated breath on the other side to see what comes out of this board meeting too, and see what types of new things come along. I mean, I have some vested interest. I have this platform. Obviously, I want to keep something going here, but then also, I'm a community member in Casper. And it brings a lot of revenue to our community.
Yes.
Like it just does. And I love that college rodeo is here and it brings revenue to my community. So there's a lot of benefits for our local committee to sit back and kind of watch and see what happens, but then also take the lead and also bring in some new sponsors and some more sponsors to keep it here and keep it strong.
Yeah. And I know last year, did we lose? Was it Rodeo Houston we lost? Which that was unfortunate, but COVID, you get it. But so it'd be fun. It'd be nice to get Rodeo Houston back, and what if they can get back having a rodeo and getting that revenue going again. So
yeah, I think that I feel like the sponsorship dollars for the CNFR were better than I expected them to be, given the kind of bouncing back from COVID. Hopefully this year has also been better for them, and we'll see that kind of tick up even a little bit more next year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, so we kind of skipped right over this to talk about board meeting stuff, but talk to me a little bit about some kind of up and comers in your region, in the Great Plains region.
So I'm going to pull up my phone here.
Who should we be watching for? I know. And pick your favorites. That's fine. We all have them. Who should we be watching for on the road to the CNFR now?
The road to CNFR. So I'm going to kind of start with the men's and women's team because right now we got some close races. The men's team is really going to come down to, Iowa Central is winning it right now, and Dickinson's men's team is second, Mid Plains, and then SDSU. And it is going to come down to the last rodeo between those four. And so that'll be a fun race. I'm going to be a little biased, DSU, but it's been fun just this spring, kind of watching them go neck and neck. So that's been fun. Women's team, BH and Dickinson. And then a new one this year in third right now is USD, University of South Dakota. And they are a very small team. They just had a few students going independent, and they have now made a team. And their women's team consists of 2 girls, and they are kicking butt. And they're in the women's team right now. So kudos to both of them, Opal Harkins and Allison Pauley. They both of them, two to watch, both have been to the college finals. Allison has been in the barrel racing, did very well last year. And Opal made it. She was in all around, and I want to say she was in the go tie and in the breakaway last year. So, I mean, both of them very fun to watch. As far as the women's, Kelly Bang, she is a freshman here at Dickinson, kicking butt in the breakaway and just being consistent in the breakaway and the barrels, and took the all around at the first in River Falls and kind of stuck with it and really just being consistent. The men's all around is kind of neck and neck too. We got Chance Grill, Scott Halverson, Landon Sievertson, Austin Madison. That's just four of them, and that's going to come down right to it also. And most of them are 2 or 3 event cowboys, and it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
Our rough stock numbers are down, but we still have some. I guess there's a Graceland, Coy Tough in the Saddle Bronc winning it right now. And then Tanner Jarrett in the bareback riding from Dickinson. And then right behind them in the bareback, though, there's some Iowa Central kids. Iowa Central's rough stock team this year they got a lot of them, and they're all very competitive. So, I mean, any of them, I expect to see a lot of Iowa Central kids going in the rough stock events to the college finals this year.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
you mentioned something that I also feel like comes into play when you have those double headers is those cowboys and cowgirls that do multiple events. If you are an all-around hand and you're working both ends of the arena as a man, then your outs just double for the weekend, which makes it seem like, oh, that's great, I have that many more chances. But it also is that many more. Maybe it's just me and I think about injuries now more than like all y'all at your age, because I don't know, I'm paying that price right now. Yeah. So, I mean, I just think there's a likelihood of more injuries when you have to squeeze in so many rodeos in one weekend.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just trying to, there's a Iowa Central kid, a boy, and he works both ends of the arena and is Coy Nelson. Well, I'm trying to look here, but Coy Nelson, I mean, the Iowa Central, they have, their men's team right now is very, very competitive. And there's so many of them, I can't keep them all straight. But I know Coy Nelson in the team rope, and I see him in the steer wrestling here. I was thinking he rode something in the rough stock too, but maybe not. Could be wrong there. But
and unfortunately, I'm looking on the collegerodeo.com, and they only have like the top 5 in the bareback riding, top 5 in the saddle bronc.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I have like top 15.
Yeah, you might have something a little more official.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mentioned, Opal Harkins, she's winning the goat tying right now. Kelly Bang is winning the breakaway. Arabella Cook from SDSU doing very good in the barrels. There's a couple SDSU girls right at the top. So yeah, it's been a fun fall season. And I guess especially from DSU standpoint, I mean, this is my 5th year at Dickinson, and we have a very competitive men's and women's team this year. So it's been so fun to see, us being competitive right up there and having contentions of taking a team to the college finals.
Yeah.
We have not been able to do that since I've been here in 5 years. So hopefully if we could get one or both of them would be awesome.
Well, and it's different. It is different. It's different when you qualify as an individual versus when you bring a team. The first year that I qualified as an individual. Obviously, I was ecstatic to be there, but it is different when you have teammates there to support you and kind of hold you up. It's just a little bit different experience. I also felt like I would have been nice to go somewhere for the finals rather than just go home. And it also was helpful because I didn't have to have my horse in a 10x10 stall. So there are pros and cons to that.
For sure.
So Jade, thank you so much for joining us. We're pushing 30 minutes now, which is super easy to do when you get to talking about rodeo, I feel like. Is there anything that you would like to add about your region or about your college? Do you know anything about recruiting for Dickinson?
I know a little bit about the recruiting. I know that our coaches, Udell Larson and Cameron Mormon. Cameron just kind of stepped on in the last year and a half here as the assistant coach and has been such a great asset to our team, especially our timed event and steer wrestlers, because obviously. But so I guess as far as recruiting, I know we have a lot of potential recruits coming in, and they've been talking to many people. So I would guess hopefully here in the next few months we could get some committed to coming back to Dickinson. As far as for our region, we got 4 rodeos left in the spring. We're excited for those. All of them will be indoors because lovely Midwest weather, so they will be inside. The other thing I guess I'd just like to mention is in the last couple of years, and since I've been on, and then Ron Scogli is our faculty director, we've been trying to change up our sponsorships and a little bit and recognize our sponsors for what they do. And we recently created a Great Plains Region Facebook page, which has been so wonderful. We have been, depending on what your sponsorship level is, we recognize you on our Facebook page periodically. And then we also post all the results on there, the standings, rodeo programs, and many other things on there. So if you'd like to go like our Great Plains Region Facebook page, please do so. And if you're ever interested in sponsoring, we have a few left for the year, but that's just something about our region. But yeah.
Very cool. And your Great Plains Region Facebook team is public. I know that some of the regional Facebook teams or Facebook pages are private groups, so only those that are in the region can join. Yeah. So if you guys are interested,
group for just members, and then we have a page that everyone can like, because we had some parents in the group and then they didn't really care to find out that the horses were loose at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
So we made a page for just results and sponsorships. And
I think I must be in your private group because y'all have more loose horses at your rodeos than I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
This is the curse of Facebook, and we just all know about it now.
Yeah, that's the problem. And actually, Ron Scogli told us that we would have a pizza party if we could go one whole rodeo weekend with no loose horses, and it hasn't happened yet. So maybe it will.
I would throw in, Bullfrog Creatives would throw in on that pizza party if y'all could do it.
That would be a miracle.
If it could happen. I wanted to post something like, seriously.
I know.
Did this happen when I was in college and we just didn't have Facebook, or what?
I know. It's bad. It's really bad.
That and dogs. Yes. Missing dogs.
Dogs are running around everywhere. Yeah.
Dogs and horses. Welcome to college.
Welcome to college rodeo.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny that you mentioned that because I also noticed the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, Jade, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. So our roots, Bullfrog Creatives platform and the Outside the Arena platform really started with kind of a virtual recruiting. So if you guys are watching and you have any questions about Dickinson State or about a college in the Great Plains region, please feel free to reach out to myself. I can get you in contact with Jade or the coaches that you're interested in. Also, hoping to roll out some new recruitment things after the first of the year. We'll see what happens. But if you guys are interested, I have made some connections and had one-on-one conversations with people. So if you have questions about how to get recruited or where to start, give me a holler. We can set something up. And then, of course, if you're interested specifically in a college, then we can also have those conversations. Yes. Jade, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful time in Vegas.
Thank you.
Be safe. I am forevermore the college mom. Made good choices.
Oh, yes.
That's what I tell my 7-year-old every day. I made good choices.
Yes.
And have a good time. And of course, looking forward to catching up hopefully with Jim Dewey after after he officially takes over at the beginning of January. Jade, you have hopefully had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Have a good December, and hopefully we'll see you in Casper.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, you guys. So we have just wrapped up with the Great Plains Region Student Director, Mrs. Jade Boote. We will be coming back at you. Outside the Arena is going to take a little bit of a break, mainly because everybody that I would have liked to talk to is now going to be in Vegas. So I don't think they want to talk to me when they're in Vegas. But like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, please tune in a little bit later this week. Thursday morning, we're going to start with our NFR Hangover. Should be fun. I know we had a lot of fun last year. Tony Branquino and Jim Boy Hash will be back co-hosting. And who knows who else we're going to have on at this point. We have some feelers out there. Who's going to be there, who's going to have boots on the ground in Vegas, and who can tell us all the inside stories and what great interviews we can land. If y'all missed it, last year we were able to get Emily Beisel on actually the morning that she won of her first round win. Not first round, I think it was second or third round that she won, but we had her on. So I feel like this is her lucky charm. So maybe we should have Emily back. But do not miss it. Again, if y'all have any suggestions on colleges or anybody that you would like to speak with and you have more questions about their program, just shoot me a message and we'll do our best that we can to get them on here. Shout out to everybody. We hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and hope you got your Christmas decorations out because it is the most wonderful time of the year. And I mean, it is the NFR in just a few short days. So catch us on NFR Hangover. And hopefully after the first of the year, we will be back with Outside the Arena. Y'all have a wonderful week. We'll catch you on Thursday.